It's getting kids to see patterns and to have a pattern recognizer system for syllable patterns, conventions in print, and for morphology, which I think is the great untapped need in instruction at the intermediate grades. And kids are left with very inadequate strategies for reading multisyllabic words, so they stumble their way through them and never appreciate the correspondence between the stable spellings of morphemes in print and their meanings, so that they can enhance their vocabulary through a self-instructional process. That would be of such advantage to so many children who are never classified as having reading problems, but who never experience the facilitating effect of good instruction at that level.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take the approach of a simple original alphabet where you next letter, next sound, fire, 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 you just constructed a word.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of units that are compacted together, and if you don't recognize the boundary between one unit and the next unit and deal with them separately, this is phonetic, meaning I can read this thing, this is not, and this thing has this sound and this meaning. So it's, again, it comes back to this assembly, and this assembly happened to happen faster than thought.
Yes.
And anything that slows that process down stresses everything.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I see many kids falling apart, falling by the wayside when they get to multisyllabic words because they never get up to speed with the recognition of orthographic sequences. And the way reading educators talk about this is chunking, and chunking as a strategy to build word recognition proficiency. But that chunking is often uninformed. So, for example, you don't want to say to a child, find the little word and the big word. That's not an effective strategy, but teaching them conventions such as knowing that there's certain letter sequences that occur more often than others, and seeing where the boundaries between syllables are likely to be just because of the sequences that occur. That's a very important thing to do, and we train kids to do that through the syllable assembly and syllable division. But it's much more productive to work with morphology when kids can get to that level. I think of children who look at a word like aggressive. Okay, there's a multisyllabic word, and they don't see the root in there, G-R-E-S-S, and they don't think about the relationship between that root and other words they might know, like regress, and it never occurs to them that that's a prefix root suffix construction with parts that recur in other words. And if they recognize the word at that level, they would recall the word and recognize it much more quickly when they see it again.
If their attention was trained to be making those kind of awareness distinctions about the units, rather than the serial flow, they can't do that. And yet we kind of teach them as if they can. We're through phonics or some of these programs. It's just almost like we're teaching them to have the wrong expectations.
It's true. We teach them to have the wrong expectations if we leave them at the level of a phoneme, grapheme, one-to-one correspondence, or sequential decoding process.